Well, let's talk about games and DLC for a minute because one of the big kind of weird success slash failure stories of the past year or so has been Destiny. And Destiny, it's a game, it's a looter shooter game that I never really got into all that much. I know you've played it. It's kind of like a light MMO light type thing, and they had a lot of problems with their launch back when they were under Activision Blizzard, which is going through their own troubles right now. But recently, basically, the developer of Destiny 2, Bungie Studios, was able to secure their independence from Activision, which used to own them. And they basically were able to take the Destiny IP with them when they left. And now they're basically the masters of their own destiny. And because of that, they've decided to make Destiny 2 free to play. And basically the core game, both with the original Destiny and Destiny 2, were not very good. And then their DLCs came out, and it kind of made them better. From what I hear now, Destiny 2 is actually pretty good. Maybe you can fill us in on what's going on with the free to play version. What's the future of this game? Is it worth checking out? What do you think is going to happen here?
So Destiny 2, the new light version, it's actually a fantastic game. I'm just going to say it right out there first. It's a great shooter that has a ridiculous amount of story content that comes in for free. You get you get Destiny 2, you get the first 3 expansions for free. Now, there are problems with it, most of which is actually trying to find your way around. Because there's not a lot of guide maps for the new player coming in. But what they ended up doing was they ended up switching over to a seasonal type of gameplay, like a lot of the competitive games, where a lot of the things, items to get, everything like that, will be locked behind season passes and things. So actually a good comparison would be Dauntless, the new Monster Hunter clone. And you're getting pretty much at this point almost say 3 years worth of content for free just to start playing of a AAA shooter.
Yeah, so here it says New Light is Bungie's attempt at a free-to-play game for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC via Steam, and Google Stadia. You can play substantial portions of the game's content without paying a single penny, but not everything is included in the deal. All Destiny 2 players will be automatically converted to the free version of New Light when it launches, and they will keep all their purchases and elements such as expansions. A generous part of Destiny 2 is available with the free version. You get access to all of Destiny 2's Year 1 content, which includes 2 complete expansions, Curse of Osiris and Warmind, with no-cut content and all stories and quests. You can also explore all planetary locations, including newer ones such as Tangled Shore and Dreaming City from the Forsaken expansion. Players will also have access to the Gambit matchmaking mode, as well as 3 raids, all strikes, and competitive multiplayer mode, the Crucible. Now, I know one of the big criticisms of Destiny 2 was the microtransaction model that they played. There was a lot of kind of controversy surrounding the fact that they would kind of throttle leveling, characters to keep people from leveling too quickly in order to get them frustrated and wanting to pay for microtransactions and stuff like that. Now that Bungie's out of Activision, out from under Activision's boot, has the microtransaction stuff been scaled back?
Well, I actually think the amount of microtransactions is a little higher, but from what I've seen so far, it's all cosmetic. There is an absolutely stupid amount of cosmetic microtransactions, which they're fine for some people. I'm not that much into cosmetics enough to actually pay for them. Sometimes I'll grab one just to give a little bit to the dev if I think it's worth it. But I don't see much pay to win in it. From what I'm seeing, yeah, you'll have some good items locked behind the you'll have some good items locked behind the expansions and the seasons, but you expect to pay for expansions every time a mass amount of new content. At least that's how the games used to be. When you had a mass amount of new content, you would buy an expansion. It wouldn't be something where items were locked behind it. The entire content would be locked behind it.
So, would you recommend people give New Light a try?
I would definitely recommend it. You can hit max light. You can get access to a good majority of the competitive weapons, competitive items, without ever paying a cent. And especially if you like the idea of the PvP or their kind of PvE VP setup they have going on. It's in the Crucible is what you were talking about, which is you fight monsters, then you go to the enemy side and help the monsters, and then you have to kill the monsters they send over to you.
Well,
So
it certainly sounds like it's a pretty fully featured free to play game. What do you think is going to be the future of this franchise now that Bungie's kind of in control of it?
I'm seeing it go uh, places. It looks like they actually have a very good idea of where they're going with it. From what I've heard, they have a 5 to 10 year roadmap of where to go from here.
Well, didn't they say that when they first launched the original Destiny that they had like a 5 or 10 year plan that apparently a lot of people thought was awful compared to the first couple years.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I remember correctly, that was when they started to get pulled into Activision's orbit, is when things started to go downhill. I played the original Destiny. First 6 months, I believe, were pretty bad. And then I remember it getting really, really good until around the time they were starting to announce Destiny 2. And that's when they got kind of pulled under Activision's thumb.
Well, they were under Activision's thumb from the beginning, weren't they?
That's they might have been owned by Activision, but that's when Activision started taking an active role in how they handled things. Because that's when they started getting pulled into the Blizzard launcher. That's when they were actually considered uh, developing under the Activision name rather than under the Bungie name. Because you remember, Bungie did a bunch of the Halo games,
Yeah,
so they had a lot of clout in the industry at the
yeah, they
time.
did all the original, the good Halo games.
Yeah, so they had a lot of pull. They could throw their weight around a little bit. So at least in my opinion, it took a little while for Activision to be able to say, "Hey, you're doing this," rather than, "Hey, would like you to do this."
So, what do you think are the prospects for Destiny 3? When is that going to be hitting? Do you think, how different is it going to be from what we've seen in the past? Do you think that it's going to be an evolution or a step back? A lot of people
I
argue Destiny 2 was a step back.
Yeah, Destiny 2 was definitely at the start a step back. I believe by the end, actually by I'd say by Curse of Osiris, they had actually passed the original Destiny in terms of what I liked about it. So that was the second expansion. Though I have to admit, I did love the Red War. That was the story was great. Bungie still just kills it in terms of story, and their voice acting is over the top good. Nathan Fillion.
Gotta love Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah. But I don't see a new expansion coming. Sorry, a new Destiny coming for at least 3 to 4 years, if they even do that, because they might take Destiny 2 down the WoW way, which is continually upgrading it, possibly doing even a visual or a full overhaul in the background, but keeping the same game.
You don't think that they might just try to do a reboot with a Destiny 3 and kind of get rid of all the Activision holdover demands and do exactly what they've always wanted to do since the beginning?
It's possible, but all their public statements lead me to believe that they're kind of dedicated to continuing with Destiny 2. Also, of course, any new full game is a fairly massive undertaking. So, and I don't see it happening for a couple of years. But then again, they 3 or 4 years down the line, it could be like, okay, our engine's hit its limits.
That's true. The technology, especially for the next generation of consoles, they might have something in mind for that as well. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. And remember, if you want to support the channel, please check us out on the socials. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew Kadish. You can also find our discussion group over on Facebook at eggfbgroup.com. That's eggfbgroup.com. Takes you right to our Facebook discussion group. And if you'd like to help support the channel, check out my books over on Amazon.com. You can find them by going to kadishbooks.com. That's Kadish books.com. And as always, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new video for more movie, TV, and entertainment news and analysis. This is Matthew Kadish. I'll catch you guys later.